With the death toll in the besieged Gaza Strip having crossed the 10,000 mark, protests across the world are growing more strident. They are demanding for an immediate ceasefire and for an immediate end to the indiscriminate bombardment that is killing innocent Gazan civilians and children. The demonstrations are not going well with the political leaders. The British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is criticizing the protests against the horrific violence that is being perpetrated on the Palestinians. Now, he's asked the London's Metropolitan Police to crack down on one protest that is scheduled for Armistice Day. Now, Armistice Day is an occasion that marks the end of hostilities in the First World War. And here people are demanding that there should be a ceasefire. The Armistice Day also marks the end of hostilities and a ceasefire after the First World War. The Armistice Day should be a day to mark a ceasefire. But Rishi Sunak says that this is something that is going against the memory of the Armistice Day. The London's top cop Mark Rowley has cleared the record, saying that no legislation gives the police the right to ban a planned protest, because in a democracy, the right to protest is important.
The remembrance events will not be disturbed. Whatever protests and events go on, we will do our utmost to protect those because they are so critical. People shouldn't be in fear that those are going to be compromised. We will do everything possible to make sure they're not. The second point about protest, though, there will be a protest this weekend. Parliament's very clear about that. The law provides no mechanism to ban a gathering, a static protest, a rally, anything like that.
Protests were also witnessed in the Lebanese villages of Blida that bid farewell to three sisters who, along with their grandmother, were killed in an Israeli air bombing on Sunday. The sisters were reported were on their way to Beirut when a missile struck their car, killing all four, three sisters and their grandmother, all of them civilians. On the West Bank side, Palestinian journalists took to the streets of Ramallah against the death of their colleagues in Gaza, symbolic empty coffins. Now, the pictures of the dead journalists. Now, according to the Gazan officials, at least about 49 Palestinian journalists so far have been killed in this relentless campaign of air bombing. Last month, the IDF claimed that it could not guarantee the safety of journalists in the Gaza Strip. But remember, according to international law, journalists are protected and cannot be targeted. In Islamabad, hundreds of Pakistanis took to the streets in solidarity with the victims of this horrific violence. They waved the Palestinian flag, they chanted slogans for an immediate end to the mass killings that at this moment are taking place in the Gaza Strip. Chile, remember, is one of the nations which has recalled its ambassador from Israel, protesting against the horrific violence being perpetrated on the innocent Palestinians. There were large protests that were held in Santiago, the Chilean capital. People came together to condemn Israel's military aggression in the Gaza Strip. Last week, the Chilean President Gabriel Boric recalled the nation's ambassador from Tel Aviv and had termed the Israeli bombing of the Gaza Strip as a violation of international law. And he'd also said that crimes against humanity are being perpetrated. In New York, dozens of protesters gathered at the footsteps of the Statue of Liberty with raised banners asking, "On whose side are you on?" The gathering was organized by the NGO Jewish Voice for Peace, which describes themselves as the largest Jewish anti-Zionist organization in the world. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, at least about 100 Palestinian protesters gathered just 500 meters from the venue for an upcoming G7 foreign ministers meeting. They criticized the organization for failing to condemn the Gaza crisis. The G7 has also issued a brief but a joint statement amounting to a few sentences since the beginning of this horrific war. A two-day meeting of the G7 is underway to discuss security issues, including the war in Ukraine and the war on Gaza. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.